Hello and welcome to our Sonia Field Education Portal training for students. If you've arrived at this training and you are not a student, you are a field supervisor, site contact, or faculty field liaison, we recommend exiting out and finding the appropriate training for your role. Students, if you've arrived at this home page, you will see that there is information listed here to tell you a little bit about the portal. There are helpful documents on the right-hand side, such as the Sonia Student User Guide, and then links to important websites within the social work program. On the upper right-hand corner, if you would like to change your language, you have the opportunity to do that. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and get logged in under the student role in Sonia. To get logged in, first you will select Student, and then you will select University Sign-In. You will then be redirected to our university login page. You will enter your credentials and click Sign In. Alrighty, we are now logged into Sonia. Today we are going over the basic features of Sonia to help you within your class and field placement. After logging into Sonia, you will be automatically directed to the home page. There are multiple tabs at the top. On the right-hand side, again, you will find helpful documents, such as the fingerprint clearance card, user guide. If you're an MSW student, we have a special section of documents just for you. You will click this drop-down button, and here you will find documents relevant to the MSW field placement process. If you are a BSW student, you do not have a document drop-down, as the documents are provided to you by the appropriate field education team member. Alrighty, moving on to the Field Placements tab. After selecting the Field Placements tab, if you are assigned to a current field placement, the information will be listed here. This information will not be listed until you have been assigned to a field placement. The details of the field placement cohort will be listed here. The name of the field placement site will then be listed. The dates that you will be completing your internship, and the days of the week, all available that you could potentially complete your internship. The right-hand side here, there's a brief calendar. We are not using this function currently. After clicking the Details tab, you will be prompted to the next page, where you will find more information regarding your field placement. Again, at the top, you will see the cohort that you are in. You will see the degree that's supported by your internship. This test student is an MSW student, so it lists MSW Foundation here. The expected duration for your internship will be 450 hours. Then more details, if they are available, will be listed in the field placement site section. There will be the name of the field placement, potentially an agency mission, the agency's website, the name of your field supervisor, first, last, and their contact information, and the name of your faculty field liaison, their first, last name, and any contact information. Down here at the bottom is the Note, Documents, and Links section. We will not be using this feature of Sonia, so you can disregard this area of the Field Placement Details tab. The next tab available at the top of your screen under field placements will be Timesheets. This tab will be very important for you in completing timesheets for your field placement. To access the timesheet, you will click the Timesheets button, and then you will be directed to the page where you can enter information regarding your timesheet. At the top, you will see the instructions, just as a reminder for how to complete your time. You will see the field placement cohort that you are in. The timesheet will start by listing the name of your field placement site here and the dates of your internship. This is important to pay attention to. If this information is not correct, then you will want to contact swfieldeducation@nau.edu to ensure that your time is being entered for the correct field placement. If this information is correct, that this is your placement site and these are the dates you're completing your internship, then you can proceed to the timesheet section. Here you will see we have already entered in some time for this student. We are going to practice today how to enter time and then review the information that's in the timesheet. Starting with the information presented in the timesheet. On the left-hand side, you will see the date the time is entered, how long you entered in time for being at your internship. The unit will always be hours. The activity will tell you what specific activity you completed at your internship during that time. You will disregard the top competency section. The attendance status will always be present because you will be in attendance during that time. If for some reason you had listed a comment, that will be under this section. The timesheet status will tell you whether it's been approved by your supervisor, unapproved by your supervisor, it has been submitted but not yet been reviewed by your supervisor, or lastly, if you need to resubmit time that was sent to your supervisor. Under the Actions button, you will see your ability to change, delete the time in this row. You will see that these rows you're not able to delete the time. In this one, you would have the opportunity to delete. It will then list the date updated that you entered in the time and who it was updated by. It will either list your student ID number or it will list your NAU email address. Okay, let's practice entering time. To enter in time, you will click Add New Timesheet. You will then see that there is a little tiny red indicators here to know that this is the timesheet that you are working on. To change the time, you will click the date, select the date of the day that you were at your internship to enter in time. We will use last Friday, for example. The next step is to enter in how long you were at your internship. This most typically will be 8 hours, but could be a different time frame, and you will enter that here. You will then select the unit of time. It provides you hours, days, or weeks, and you will always select hours. The activity option will either be field placement hours or field seminar. If you are at your field placement completing traditional hours, you will select field placement hours. If you are attending field seminar, you would then select field seminar hours. You will disregard the competency section. Your attendance status will always be present. If you'd like to add a comment, you have the opportunity to do that here. And then there will be no further information on the right-hand side for you to update or enter. You will know which components you need to enter based on the little red indicator here. After entering in the correct information, you will either click Save or Cancel. Save if you would like this to be submitted and sent to your supervisor. Cancel if for some reason the information is incorrect. I'm going to click Save. We will then see that the time has been entered for last Friday with the information that we entered. It will now say that the timesheet status has been submitted, which means it's been sent to my field supervisor and waiting approval. If for some reason I made this entry in error, I would have the opportunity to delete it here. Otherwise, you will just wait for your supervisor to review the time. When reviewing the timesheet status, as mentioned before, it will either say approved by your supervisor, unapproved by your supervisor, or resubmit by your supervisor. Approved and unapproved, you do not have the opportunity to change. Resubmit is the only time that you could change if your supervisor has asked you to make an edit. To change the time in the resubmit column, you simply select and then would change the information that needed to be changed by request of your supervisor. After changing the information, you will then click the Save button. This information has not been resubmitted because I did not change anything. To change information, we will change the hours and then click Save. We can now see that the time has been submitted for our field supervisor to review. Scrolling down to the next section, you will see the total hours breakdown for your current timesheet. The total expected hours will always be 450. Approved would mean that your supervisor has approved 8 hours of the time submitted on your timesheet. Remaining time then subtracts the approved from the expected to let you know how much total time you have. This may or may not be accurate depending on how much time you have submitted and is awaiting approval. You will see here the total amount of time that you have submitted. If there's any that require resubmission, that will be listed here. And then at the very end, it will tell you how much time is awaiting approval. There will then be an activity breakdown. It will either list field placement hours or field seminar and the total duration of each activity. There will not be any sub-activities listed within the timesheet. And those are the functions of how to use the timesheet component of Sonia. Alrighty, we have explored the Field Placements tab, and now we'll be moving on to the Forms tab. The Forms tab will list any forms that have been assigned to you by the field education team. Here, for example, we have a few assigned forms to this student. When reviewing a form, you will see the name of the form at the top, the placement group or cohort that you are in that the form has been assigned, the name of your field placement site, the date the field team added the form for you, and the most recent date that you have updated it. Completed will tell you how much you have completed, and completed of all means that there are multiple signers, and it will indicate here when each signer has completed their component out of 3. To edit the form, you will click the edit pencil. This will then open the form into a new tab. This form is the learning agreement. You will read the instructions at the top. Enter in all the required information of the form. The learning agreement is a long document, so I will scroll to the bottom. After entering in the information on your form, you will have the opportunity to either save it as a draft or submit. If you clicked Save Draft, you will then see the form has been saved, and it will tell you the date and time that your form was saved in draft. You will then have the opportunity to come back and edit the form. If you click Submit, this form, you can tell that we have not completed a required fields. It will tell you that the form was not actioned, meaning that it was not submitted to the field education team because you are missing certain sections of the form. You would then need to go back into each section of the form, complete the required components, and hit submit. In the bottom section, there is also an opportunity for some forms for the field supervisor or field liaison to leave comments. And you will see them here. When you are finished with the form, you will need to go back to your original tab. You will then come back to the home page or the forms page, and you will see that we did not submit the form, so none of this information has changed. Let's move on to another document, for example. This one is called the Field Education Students Responsibility Acknowledgement. We are going to click the edit pencil. I'm going in to enter in some information here so we can submit the form. I have entered in all of the information. I'm ready to hit submit the form, so then I will click submit. You will then see here at the bottom, it says the form was successfully actioned, meaning it was submitted. It will say the date, who submitted it, and the time. You will then travel back to the Forms tab, click Refresh on your home page. And we will now see I have completed one out of one of the form requirements for me. And now it looks like my field supervisor or an additional signer will need to review and complete the form before it is fully actioned. That is how you complete and submit forms in Sonia. The next tab is the My Details tab. We will not be using this tab. Checks you will have already become familiar with in our field education application process. We will not be reviewing that today. The History tab will tell you any placement that you have entered into Sonia before. For example, if you are in our 2-year MSW program and you used Sonia for your first year internship, this information will be listed here if you are now in your 2nd year internship. If you have not previously used Sonia, there will be no information listed here. The Documents and Calendar tab are another 2 tabs that we will not be using at this time. Please stay tuned for more information regarding these tabs in the future. Over in the right-hand side of the page, you will see your first and last name. Please always make sure that this is your name. If it is not, we ask that you contact SW Field Education at NAU.edu so we can get you logged into the correct account. Just as with the home page, you would have the opportunity to change the language here. And then there's the logout button here on the right-hand side. As a reminder, anytime you have questions regarding Sonia, have an IT challenge, or need assistance, please contact swfieldeducation@nau.edu, and a member of our team will support you. I'm going to log out on the right-hand side, and that concludes the training for our field education portal for students.